And welcome back. I am Terry Ann Porter. Life Coach TA is my hashtag. And I'm here again with another one of my Toastmasters friends. We're going to be talking about why Toastmasters. As I've told you, I've been in Toastmasters and I've talked about it for the last, several years. And I don't want you to hear all from me. I want to have you have the opportunity to learn from others why I'm so excited when I say Toastmasters. So please help me welcome my guest today, David Wootan.
Hello, and thank you, Terry Ann. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Well, David, let's start out with the first basics, then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
So first of all, tell me, how long have you been in Toastmasters?
I've been in Toastmasters for 17 years.
Wow, 17 years. Okay. Why? Why did you even think about joining Toastmasters?
Well, that's the beauty of it, is because I didn't think about joining Toastmasters. I'm one of the few people that I've met in Toastmasters that was actually sent to Toastmasters by someone else. And I take pride in this. It's going to come out kind of terrible, but totally pride. I gave a speech in front of my boss, and her boss was there. His boss was there. His boss was there. You get the idea. And that was 17 years ago. This particular person that's talking right now is not the same person, because that person couldn't talk on this video without appearing nervous. And that's why I was sent to Toastmasters. They wanted me to join the program, go through the manual at the time, get the 6 months and come back and be a good speaker. Well, I did that. I went through the Competent Communication Manual and delivered another speech 6 months later. And I was just paying attention to my boss's movement in the back. And what I saw was the two of them kind of just come close together and they were whispering. Well, I later found out that whisper was Toastmasters is really working for him. So I was supervising at the time, and now I'm in IT. And it's just one of those that most people think that from an IT perspective that you don't need to know how to speak, know how to communicate, because all you're doing is coding. Well, if you don't understand what you're coding and not asking the right questions, then you're not going to be delivering a good product. So that's one of the reasons why I keep staying after 17 years.
Nice. And yeah, that is a valid point. You've got to be able to understand and ask questions too. So Toastmasters is more than just the standing up and doing the public speaking. It's the confidence in those many other areas. Well, you've pretty much answered my next question of why you're still in Toastmasters.
Actually, that is just one of the reasons. The real reason.
Well, give me some more.
I mentioned that I was a supervisor, that I'm in IT, but that's not what I originally wanted to do when I was growing up. And actually, I'm still growing up, so it's probably something I still want to do. But Toastmasters has actually been very rewarding from this perspective. I mentioned I was the nervous guy that came to Toastmasters, the one that didn't know how to speak, couldn't get 3 words out. But now I'm teaching people to get those words out. And wanting to be a history teacher when I was in high school was one of those things that just never happened. It never came about. But now I'm teaching others, and it's been satisfying that lifelong dream of mine to be a teacher. So instead of being a teacher to school, I'm teaching people in the community, participating in videos like this, and just getting that. The person beat me in a contest perspective of, hey, I taught that person, and it's just very rewarding to see that.
Oh, nice. That nice satisfaction and confidence goes with it. Is there a story that just stands out to you that you think is just so awesome about Toastmasters or your time in Toastmasters?
It's actually what Toastmasters did that stands out. And it's kind of a sad story. My grandmother passed away when I was in Toastmasters, roughly 6-7 years. And I got a phone call on the way to the funeral that there was going to be no eulogy. No one was going to speak. No one was going to stand up. And I was like, no, I can't let that happen. Someone's got to say something. So I was sitting there and I was thinking about all the stories my grandmother used to tell me. And she had this ring that was from her high school graduation. And it would fit on my pinky. It was, it was my grandmother's ring. And the story is that the ring, when it was turned upside down, it could sit down and it was a basket, a picnic basket. And she took so much pride in that. And no one was there at the funeral to give any type of sermon, any type of eulogy at all. I just had to stand up, and I spoke in front of everyone that was there, her friends, her family, my family, and just told this wonderful story that my grandmother shared with me. And the cool thing is non-Toastmasters then stood up and came forward and just shared those little stories, and it made a wonderful funeral for her. I know she would have loved it, and if it hadn't been for Toastmasters, I wouldn't have stood up. So, Toastmasters affects us personally, affects us professionally, and this particular story, it's my favorite story, and I owe it all to Toastmasters.
Oh, what a wonderful story! I know that I have taken the opportunity to take what I've learned at Toastmasters. I've spoken at several funerals, and that seems like an odd place to stand up and speak, right? But it's vital, isn't it?
It is. It's the celebration of life, and just small little words can mean so much to someone.
Oh, that means so much, and how much your standing up there encouraged others to stand up and share as well. That confidence, it's a leadership skill, a hidden leadership. Nobody would say, "Oh, that's leadership," but that's what it is. You took a leadership moment. That's another thing about Toastmasters is leadership, which, speaking of leadership, I notice I've said the word several times. So now that I've said the word several times, I understand that you have quite a leadership role right now in District 22.
Yes, I am the District 22 Program Quality Director.
What does that mean?
There's a long description if you look at the governing docs, and I won't go into that, but basically think of it as education and training. So the program quality director is ensuring that you are getting quality education, in this case from the district. So all of our club officer trainings, our annual conference, if you've been to a speech contest, those all receive training from the program quality director or from someone on our team. And that particular role is to make sure that everyone knows how to deliver those programs. So if you're facilitating, say, club president, you're going to make sure that you're following all the details. But the one thing I like to put into it is don't get into that boring part. Make it your own, because that's how you're also going to grow as a speaker. And I say boring. I've never seen a boring club president because I know everyone that's been a club president their goal is to make sure their club is going to be distinguished, presidents distinguished, and so forth. That's their goal. My goal is to make sure that they can do it and provide excellence to their club.
What a great description. That is one thing I did like about Toastmasters. Now, with my personality, I've often been placed into leadership roles. Oh, you'd be so good at this. Here, you go take charge of that. And then I'd never see the person again. I had I left and quit so many places and things because, I don't know how. I don't know what you want. And I love that Toastmasters leadership, we get the training. You're not just thrown into a role. You got training, and you got plenty of people to assist you and to help you to grow and to develop those skills. And you make sure we get those.
That I do.
Wonderful. What are some other roles that you've held that are leadership that led you to this role?
I will say that I am totally surprised by the number of roles that I've held. Give you an idea is I'm that guy that replied to the email my very first year in Toastmasters when there was looking for area governors that are now area directors. All I said was just, what is an area governor? The next thing I know, I'm elected as an area L31 governor, but I was also elected as the vice president of education of my club. Two completely different roles, but it was the same year. Both of those were my first office. Yeah, that was a little rough because brand new Toastmaster, didn't know what I was doing that first year. But if you go back and look through the last 17 years, I've been an area director or an area governor multiple times. I've also been a assistant area governor. I've been a division director, a division governor. And I just kind of bounced back and forth between those roles. Did not want to step forward into the trio, the district trio, Eventually, someone followed up with me, and I wasn't feeling it. And I am so glad I told him follow up with me in 2 weeks, and he did. Followed up to me almost 2 weeks to the minute, and I said, "Okay, I'll do it." And I was hesitant. I didn't want to do it at first, but it was the most rewarding experience I've ever had being the club growth director. We grew one club last year, and that was during COVID, the coming out of COVID period. So I got really excited about that, so much that I ran for program quality director. And hopefully I'll be in a slightly higher office in a few months.
Nice. Now, you stated that you've repeated several roles. Did you find that each time you went back and repeated it, it wasn't just the same old, that each time you learned something new?
Yes. Yeah, definitely each time. And kind of the reason why I repeated it, we used to have a confident communication manual, and you used to be able to repeat that manual. And there was a former district governor that said, why only stop at doing it one time? Do it again, and you'll learn so much more. So I remember giving like 7 icebreakers in 1 year for 7 different manuals. And each one of those was so rewarding that I grew more as myself, and it made me think more about why I was actually in the program to begin with. And I applied the same principle to area governor. Well, I didn't really have an area council the first year. I didn't even know what an area governor was the first year, to be honest. Well, the next time I did it, I had a mentor. The second time I did it, well, I mentored someone else because I was their assistant and so forth. Mm-hmm. And I even had a break in there where I wasn't an area governor. That was, okay, let's learn more of the rules. Let's come back in. How can I make it better for my clubs? Of being an area director, I had 5 clubs under me. So how can I get that information out and get it to where they know that I'm their area governor? That was my goal. And each time I learned more about it.
What just struck me here was another great feature of Toastmasters, learning the leadership, learning that when we say things like area governor or director, division governor or director, you had 5 clubs under you. How many people watching this are in a rural where they have so many employees or whatever underneath them? So you learn the leadership skill is also, it's more than public speaking.
Exactly.
That leadership skill is in there, and the training that goes with it.
Yes.
I know in the education program, right now, for example, me doing these videos, this is part of the education program. Part of the education program is teaching social media and learning the aspects of it. Video, things like this. What is one of your favorite education things?
I have to say my favorite one is the path engaging humor. And that might be the correct name for it. As I mentioned, I've been here 17 years, and it used to be a manual. I love the engaging humor path. I was told, being in IT, being a former supervisor, that I have this strict, did I mention I'm a historian too? So I have my Bachelor of Science in History. So yeah, very boring, very fast. Those were my original speeches. And so, and it was actually during COVID that I took 2020 that I took on the education, basically, how do I engage humor into my speeches? And it started out, and if you've seen my dog in anything, if you see him on social media, he's the coworker. His name's Indiana. And what it started was, he was my office buddy. He was there. He was for every single speech that I was there, every meeting I was there, he was there. So I picked him up when I gave my first engaging humor speech. And he has since turned into just the little stable that has his little black pug. He's got a long tongue that hangs out. So just imagine I'm giving a speech and I'm dead serious, but my dog's sitting here and his tongue's hanging out. Then he yawns. And it started out as jokes like that. But then it would, he'd be wearing his sunglasses during one of the next speeches. And yeah, that was how I started doing the jokes, and now I started just getting people laughing. So I love my dog. I was wearing a white shirt during that, and I was not wearing a tie. And I mentioned he's a black dog. Well, he turned it into a black tie event as he put his arm up right here, and it looked like I was wearing a black tie for the rest of the speech. And yeah, just incorporating that one element made it, I can do things like that. It doesn't have to be a joke. It could just be a prop. And so I will mention that if you need someone that has a prop, it's probably going to be me for speech. And if you ever need to know of a Toastmaster that has the Batmobile on his desk, I guarantee you I have it.
Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh. I wish you had some recordings of those because I would love to see some of those. Oh, how amazing. And I guess that's one of the things I really like is we can personalize as we're learning the different areas. And all the projects are the same, but they become so individualized. For me, teddy bears and tiaras often are my props. And when I use them and somebody say, well, that just doesn't work for me. Well, my response back is, I'll find what works for you. I'm not asking you to copy me. I'm suggesting that you take the techniques, but what works for you? And I love how the dog works so well for you and how it just fit right in there.
Yes, I was totally amused, and I let him join any meeting that he wants to at this point.
And I imagine that your regular audience definitely looks forward to it.
176 followers on Instagram. Yes, he is a.
And they're all for him, huh?
For him, yes.
Absolutely. Is there any final words that you would want if you were to talk to somebody about Toastmasters and you had the opportunity to say, this is why you should join this? What would you say?
I'd have to say that everyone likes to have the ability to talk to someone else. And what you're going to find, at least what I found, is that confidence level changed when 2 people got involved or 3 people got involved. Or you're standing all of a sudden in front of 400 people in an auditorium and you are wearing all black and you're holding a sheet of paper and you're literally just can't, you can talk, but that sheet of paper is still moving, kind of like my hands are right now. What Toastmasters did for me was give me the confidence to appear that I was not nervous. The butterflies could be going 100 miles an hour. It doesn't mean that I am 100% not nervous. There are still those, how many people are in the audience moments, but not all the time. Right now, when it was just learning how to engage the humor, I've learned another way to control that. But Toastmasters is going to do for you 2 things. Either you're coming to Toastmasters to learn how to be a leader, or you're coming to Toastmasters to learn how to speak. Either way, you're going to learn confidence. That's the one thing that Toastmasters has taught me. And I guarantee you, I have no problem doing the elevator speech when you go up and just talk to someone, say in a room, at the water cooler, in the elevator on your way up to work, or you're in the middle of a conference and then all of a sudden they tell you, oh, go talk to some people over in one corner and stay in that little area. But you decide, no, I'm going to go to the other corner in the front of the room and talk to those people that I have no idea who they are. And just learn to network and communicate with other people. The Toastmasters, as I said, you're going to learn leadership, you're going to learn communication, you're going to network. And that is just going to expand and increase everything that you have to bring to your own personal goals.
What a great explanation. I love it. Thank you so much. Oh, David, it has been an honor and a pleasure to chat with you. If you have any questions, check out my local club. We'd love to show you what a Toastmasters meeting is about. You can also check Toastmasters International by going to https://toastmasters.org and find out more about this. Thank you very much. And I can't wait to share more of my Toastmasters friends with you.